have all of these Chamber of Commerces in Taiwan. What do you guys actually do?
I think we spend tax dollars.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah. No, that's a really good question. I mean, I guess it's like building maybe ties between the two countries. We get all kinds of people and plenty of like non-Australian people too showing up. But at the end of the day, I think it's really like networking at its core. Also just a good excuse to get a bunch of people together and have fun. Lots of beer and good meat.
I love it. I love it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show today. My name is John Drummond, or Yang Haoen.
Hi, 大家好，欢迎回到 NG 英文，我叫 Stephanie.
We have a great episode for you today with my new friend Noah, who's known around the professional and Taiwanese community as Noah Hynam.
我们今天的来宾叫 Noah， 那他是出生于澳洲一个以农业为主的偏乡，然后后来到了 IBM 工作之后，发现他觉得他有可能会因为这个薪水而一直被困在这里，所以他毅然决然的把所有东西卖掉。那我们来看看他接下来发展如何吧。
My guest today is from Australia. However, he has been in Taiwan for a few years now. He is the co-founder of Creator DB, a member of the Australian Chamber of Commerce, a lover of board games, going with the flow, a few pints with the boys, and so much more. So everyone, please welcome my new friend, Noah.
Hey.
Boom. What's up, Noah? Welcome to NG 英文.
Thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was so great. You know, a few episodes ago, we had Nicole on the show, and I kind of... How did that even unfold? Did I harass her again to get you on the show? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, pretty much. Now we're all LinkedIn buddies, and I think the three of us are just LinkedIn rock spiders. That's where we live.
Man, shout out to LinkedIn because it is a great little network though for me to get cool people in Taiwan on the show. So thank you for agreeing to join us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. And so I was hoping you could give our audience here on NG 英文 a little high level. Who is the man, the myth, the legend, Noah?
All right, well, where to begin? I grew up in a pretty small farming community in Australia. Shout out to the Wimmera Mallee. Nobody knows it in this room, I don't think. Yeah, anyway, I kind of moved out of there for college. I did like growing up there. It was a chill place. So, yeah, went to college. Started working at IBM, actually, while studying. And I think I was a little bit worried I'd get addicted to the white-collar dollar, as we called it.
Oh, I've never heard that one, actually. I love that. That might be our phrase of the day, the white-collar dollar.
Yeah. Oh, my God, I might get addicted to this paycheck and be stuck here forever. And I kind of really wanted to get out into the world. So that's when I thought, it's time. Like, sell up all my stuff, quit, book a ticket. And I'm the co-founder and... what am I now? VP of Partnerships at Creator DB. So we're a little marketing agency just coming out of our kind of startup phase and starting to fill some pretty big boots and do a lot of work on YouTube with hundreds of creators now, probably every month.
Just hearing that you guys you're rocking and rolling already, and I just love it.
好，我们来看一下有两个词，一个叫做 white collar dollar， 然后一个叫做 filling into some big boots。这两个是什么意思呢？其实我觉得还蛮常听到 filling into some big boots， 但是 white collar dollar 我算是第一次听到。那刚刚 Noah 也有解释，因为他自己是在 IBM 工作。我相信他的薪水也相对的比较优渥一点，那他的职位啊等等的都应该还蛮不错，所以他其实很纠结说到底该不该离开，其实有点像是一种束缚，就是因为这样的薪水，所以你可能不愿意离开，就叫 white collar dollar。对，那后面他有说他也开了一个 marketing agency， 就是一个行销公司，然后目前公司也脱离了 startup phase， 也就是刚起步的阶段，所以非常恭喜 Noah， 你当时跨越了自己的心里那个坎，然后做到现在这样子的成绩。那最后他有说 I'll be filling in a lot of big boots 是什么意思呢？其实不是在说什么还要穿比较大的靴子之类的，而是呢可能别人对他有很高的期许，所以他为了要达成这些高标准，所以他需要去做很多很多的努力。对，那希望 Noah 可以做到，我也相信你应该可以，你都放弃 IBM 的工作了，换作是我有点困难，难决定。
And another thing you're focused on, though, is doing a lot of kind of pro bono work also with the Australian Chamber of Commerce. Is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it work. It's mostly just networking. And yeah, the ANZ Cham, Actually, a fun little story about how I found that place. I'm from a really rural part, or at least my father is, of Australia. And while in Taiwan, actually watching an Australian football game, I said my hometown and somebody picked it out over the crowd. Like, hey, you are from that tiny place in the middle of nowhere? So am I. I'm like, what the hell? It's this 50-year-old dude. Shout out to Rowan. And I got talking with him. We realized that like our families know each other, kind of not intermarried or anything, but like hella close, like in only small town kind of whatever that happens. And he was a high up in the ANZ chambers, and he said, hell yeah, you should come to these events. That was when I was just transitioning from like teaching English to being a businessman. So I thought, well, seems like the kind of stuff I should be doing, and started attending.
我刚刚其实有听到两个比较偏商业用语的英文，一个就是 pro bono， 另外一个就是 Chamber of Commerce。Pro bono 其实是从拉丁文来的，它叫 pro bono publico， 也就是社会公益。那它跟志工比较不一样的是，因为呢，它要自愿提供专业服务，并且不收取任何费用，才算是 pro bono。所以有在做这些事情的人，你们真的是社会中的小天使。那 Chamber of Commerce 其实就是所谓的商会，那他们就是会聚集各行各业的人来做一些商务上的交流。那它可以是地区性的，或是以国家来做代表的。像 Noah 刚刚有说，他是代表澳洲的一个商会，那他们这些就可能会做一些跨国的交流。
Yeah, it's so cool. And so what exactly, we have all of these Chamber of Commerces in Taiwan, right? The American Chamber of Commerce, Canadian, Australian. What do you guys actually do?
I think we spend tax dollars.
It all makes sense now.
Having a good time. No, that's a really good question. I mean, I guess it's like building maybe ties between the two countries. We get all kinds of people and plenty of like non-Australian people too showing up. But at the end of the day, I think it's really like networking at its core. Also just a good excuse to get a bunch of people together and have fun. The last event I went to was last month. It was what we call the booze cruise, up the Red Line anyway, like near Shilin or whatever, one of those harbors. And it was like 100 people on a boat, lots of beer and good meat. Great
Nice.
Time.
Very government official.
Super.
I love it. And so you kind of mentioned a little bit, you came to Taiwan as a teacher, but you now are this businessman, a co-founder of a great company here. What was that kind of genesis story? How did that transition happen?
It's a bit of a funny one. Actually, the very first thing that kind of started all this was a Reddit thread. Back when I was teaching, I was like just looking to meet some new people. I only had a couple of good friends here, and I thought, well, I should broaden my horizon a bit. Put up a Reddit thread. I'm like, who wants to play some like old school pen and paper RPGs? Like meet up, have a couple of beers, whatever. And the first like 4 or 5 people that responded, I just invited them to my house one Sunday. Just total strangers, picked them up at the MRT station. It turns out most of them, I think all of them were foreigners. American dude, a German, another American. Actually, they might have mostly been American. And
was a guy named Spencer?
No.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Co-founder of Uchacha. He's an old school. He loves these old school pen and paper style RPGs. Yeah.
Well, they're like kind of super coming back. Yeah. So anyway, one of those dudes was ended up being the co-founder, and the idea came from him. Just one night, we were up at like 3 a.m. playing World of Warcraft. If anyone wants to know, after the classic version of that came out, and he's like, "Do you want to start a YouTube ad agency?" I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like everything sounds good at 3 a.m. after a few drinks. And then a month or so later, we kind of got together and, decided like, all right, let's actually do this. And what do we need to do? What are the first things? And the first things were to kind of like manually, like I look back at this time and I'm like, wow, what a waste of time. Manually go through YouTube and pick out like 1,000 good looking people, get their contact details, some of their stats, and then try to like ship that around, I guess, on LinkedIn, like, oh, hey, we can work with these people, even though we had no contact with them at all. Fake it till you make it, kind of. And eventually got our first campaign in crypto, which was a nightmare for a variety of reasons. I'll give you the very short story. A lot of weirdo creators. Everybody wants to pay in crypto and get paid in crypto. I wasn't super across crypto at the time, so I needed to learn how to like, get a wallet, make a transaction. And probably the highlight was at one point, the co-founder Clayton and I, we needed to go down to a crypto, like a Bitcoin ATM in Taipei here, and feed like, I don't know, it was like 10 grand US in $1,000 bills into this machine. And it took us like 30, 40 minutes, and people looking at us just like, these guys are like definitely drug dealers, right? We're like, no, we're modern businessmen.
Yeah. I love it, man. Yeah, it's wow. And I just love the origin story of that. Shout out to your co-founder Clayton.
天哪 ，Noah 你好可怜哦，居然被当成现代的毒贩，只因为抱着一大堆现金去换比特币。对啊，可能是因为当时还没有所谓像现在的台湾的交易所可以用转账的方式去换 USDT， 然后来换就是其他随便你想要买的货币。所以各位，如果你们想要买的话，你们自己可以上网查一下啦，不用拿现金去 ATM 好吗？各位。
Just having an idea at 3 a.m. and you guys look at you now. So very, very cool. Congratulations on that. And I love that you saw it through. And what was the insight that you had in terms of knowing that you wanted to be doing ad work and doing marketing?
I can't say I've got any great insight here. I'm just a little bit of a go with the flow kind of guy, and just like kind of see where life takes me, which isn't maybe a very satisfying answer, but perhaps that's the insight. People should do that more.
I love that. Yeah, it's a great answer for me.
yeah. So this opportunity just sprung up, and I just made the most of it and continue to do so, and that will probably lead into other opportunities, or at least more opportunity within Creator DB to do more and greater things. Like we'll see.
I love it. And shout out to Clayton, because I know he's going to want to have this on the air.
刚刚 Noah 其实有提到 native speaker 很喜欢用的两个词，那就是 go with the flow， 还有 make the most of it。 Go with the flow 就是顺其自然，然后随遇而安，比较像是一种很 chill 的态度。所以如果你是在可能加州比较慢步调一点的地方，他们觉得都可以啦， go with the flow， 你知道。然后最后就是 make the most of it， 就是充分利用，然后好好把握。其实这个是平常在对话当中很常听到的两个词，所以如果你偶尔会在里面穿插的话，别人就觉得你也是 native speaker 吗？
I'm guessing DB stands for database.
It does.
Oh, here we go. So essentially there, Creator DB stands for Creator Database. And I'm guessing that means you just scour the internet manually, like you said, finding all these creative people, and then have them as a database to reach out for different brands to work with. Is that the idea?
It is the idea, except now that it's super not manual. So we've got engineers who have actually a big array of Raspberry Pis that connect into YouTube and TikTok and IG dozens of times a second and just vacuum up as much data as we can, all public. And we use that to like build profiles on different people's YouTube channels or whatever. And then we do our best to categorize that, and then just do a bunch of other like quantitative stuff, like people's engagement rates, like how much do they click and interact here, and then put them in giant lists basically. So if you're a brand, you want this kind of creator in this region that gets this many clicks on average, and you can just go pow, 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 bam, get a list.
It's beautiful. It's so cool. Congratulations on all of that. And so thinking a little bit about the future of Noah, I love that you said you kind of are going with the flow. You know, you're going to let life unfold for you so beautifully. Mm-hmm. What do you think is next for you in the world?
I don't really know. I mean, definitely seeing through Creator DB to some kind of end. Either we're acquired or it just grows into something that, I don't know, is too big for us. I really just don't know. But right now I'm very committed to that. I have a partner here in Taipei, so want to see where that leads, obviously. Signs are good that it could go the distance. And yeah, with like learning Chinese too, I really want to get to fluency, and I feel like I'm maybe halfway. So there's still a few years to be done there.
Yeah, awesome, man. Love it. I wish you nothing but success on this journey of life. Do you mind if we switch gears, though, a little bit to kind of the story of you with Taiwan and language?
Oh, yeah.
And kind of where you are now within the world of language acquisition with Chinese. So can you maybe share a little bit about your journey?
When I first landed on shore here, straight away jumped into teaching English to pay my bills. And I kind of didn't really do much with learning Chinese for I think the first 9 months. Kind of as a joke, I would have some of my students, like I was teaching elementary level, they would teach me some things after class, like kind of switch roles. They can be the teacher just for a bit of fun. So I got my first like 20 bits of vocab from kids, mostly the pronouns and super simple stuff. And then after 9 months, I was like, it looks like I'm going to be here a while. I should probably put the foot down a bit. So I started taking morning classes. I think it was 8 hours a week, 4 days a week. That was at TCA. Shout out to Andy at TCA, Taiwanese Chinese Academy in Taida, wherever, around there. I forgot the name of that station now. And yeah, anyway, kind of got the foundation there. I think I did that for 3 months and then sort of burned out. It was like it wasn't like too much, but I'm not the most dedicated guy maybe. But I did get the foundation, got my numbers down, simple questions, whatever, right? Enough to live and remove a lot of the friction from being in like a non-English, for the most part, society. And then I kind of sat on it for like a year and I started to get itchy feet again, like, oh, I need to be doing more. Or like I had people commenting, oh, you've been here 2 years and your Chinese is kind of not that great. So I was like, all right, I'll go learn some more. And I started taking night classes. That was just like 2 hours, 2 times a week. Again, back at TCA, shout out. And that was pretty good. I did that for like 6 months, so that was a bit of a longer term thing. And again, I'm like, I don't really want to pay the money. It's a lot of time. So I canned that and then actually immediately started doing one-on-one tutoring. Actually, one of the reasons I stopped at TCA was I was in a class of 6. So even though I was doing like 4 hours a week, you know, you split the class time by 6 and there's like not actually that much speaking time for you. The bookwork and stuff was great, and that is obviously important. I can kind of read a bit of Chinese now because of them, so that's awesome. But now I just have a tutor, 2 hours a week. Shout out to Ming. If you're looking for a good tutor, find me on LinkedIn later. And yeah, now it's just 2 hours a week tutoring, all conversation. And he's actually a bit cheeky, just gets me talking about myself and my week, and I can easily fill 2 hours. It's basically all Chinese too. And then anything I don't know, he'll just teach me, and that's how we get new vocab.
Love it. And so thinking a little bit now about Creator DB, you know, you guys are creating a multilingual work environment. I mean, Nicole was telling us in the show, you guys have Koreans, Japanese, American, I'm sure more, but I love that. It's like a language exchange work environment. And so are you guys focusing on clients using now English and Mandarin and other languages, or where are you at with that?
Good question. I think we're kind of finding the majority of our success in Western, especially European brands, wanting to break into the Asia market, particularly East Asia. So yeah, a lot of our opportunities is they just need people who can speak Chinese, speak Japanese, speak Korean, to interface, I guess, with creators here and get some stuff made.
Yeah, it's so cool. And so is inner office politicking, is that, or like hanging out, is that all still in English though?
Yeah, and we do love a hangout, and it's kind of like a big running joke. Every month or two I'll host a big video game tournament and put way too much effort into it with like brackets and different levels and whatever. But yeah, most of it's still in English. Bit of Chinese blended in. I mean, I've noticed that a lot of us are either English speakers with a bit of Chinese or Chinese speakers with a bit of English. So we can find some like common ground for jokes that involve both, which I just really love. It's like, you know, if you think about your vocabulary being a toolbox for making jokes with, adding like a second toolbox is just hella fun.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Thinking then about your own language journey, do you have any tips or advice you could share with our audience here on NG England?
Yeah, I think just feel out your own level of commitment might be how you want to put it. Like, I found that going too fast and doing too many hours in a week just burned me out quickly. So I think I eventually realized for what works for me is a slow and steady approach. Less hours in a week, and just extremely consistent. Now I think I've been with my tutor like well over a year, and probably missed like one weekend out of 52. So I've kind of come to accept that yes, I'm still 2, 3, 4 years away from fluency because I'm not studying 10 hours a week or 20 or full time. But I think that's totally cool. That's what I'm comfortable with, and that's what works for me.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
其实刚刚 Noah 分享他学习中文遇到的挫折，应该是大部分在学习语言的人都会遇到的。像我自己本身有学过4、5种语言，也都遇到同样的问题，就是我要么求太快，就是我可能会想要上久一点的课，或者是多一点的课，但后来发现可能资讯量有点太庞大，或者是压力太大，那我可能无法承受。到最后反而变断断续续，就只上一些课，然后后面就不上了。那后来他也说，他找到他自己可以承诺的时数，然后他觉得他比较适合慢慢的，然后固定的、长期的，对他来讲会比较有效。所以其实每个人的学习方式跟模式都不太一样，那找到自己适合的就非常好。
Awesome, Noah. Well, the question I'd love to end the show with is if you could go back and talk to a younger Noah, would there be any advice you give yourself about life, language, business, anything?
Yeah, so I heard my colleague Nicole say she wouldn't go back. I definitely am going back, and
Hey.
I'm telling myself to buy Bitcoin and then sell before 2022.
Can't tell you how many people in the past year have said that exact thing.
Yeah, okay. That's a well-trodden path. Anyway, I'd be doing that for sure. If given the opportunity, I would 1,000% start learning Chinese earlier. It wasn't an opportunity for me in high school, but my understanding in a lot of Australia now, and probably a lot of other countries, it is. So, I don't know. I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity regardless, younger than 18, but after, I would have hit that harder. Because when I got here, I literally had like 你好 and 谢谢, and that was it. Right? So 2 phrases to get started in a new country.
Some solid phrases right there, though.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll get you far.
For sure.
Yeah, love it, man.
刚刚 Noah 给自己的建议就是越早学习越好，因为的确你越早学习，你的吸收能力越好。但是当然，我觉得永远都不要嫌晚，你只要有开始就是好事哦。
Awesome, Noah. Well, where can people find you on LinkedIn? Where can they find more about your companies online?
Yep, do search me up on LinkedIn for sure. Noah Hynam, Hynam. I love me some LinkedIn. Yeah, actually, just find me there.
All right, Noah. Well, thank you for joining us. Shout out to all your team at Creator DB, Nicole, and maybe we'll have to get Clayton on in the near future, it sounds like. And we'll talk to you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, John.
All right. Bye, everyone. Peace.
See ya.
All right. Well, that is our NG Ingwen show for today. We hope everyone enjoyed listening to that. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now Spotify. You can search NG Ingwen, or you can search on IG NG English ICRT. And don't forget to tune in every Wednesday morning from 6:30 to 7 and Wednesday night from 9 to 9:30. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.